Welcome, everybody. My name is Eden Fulton. I am the Executive Vice President at identiMetrics. Thank you so much for joining us today. Some quick housekeeping things. We'll be emailing you each a recording of the webinar. The email will also include your special 5% discount coupon on any of the identiMetrics products through October 31st, 2022. If you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to submit them through the Zoom chat. Also, Brian Adams is here with us directing the webinar and will be managing the Q&A at the end. Let's begin. New state laws, a labor crunch, and the surging cost of food, delivery services and cafeteria supplies, all of these things are creating overwhelming challenges for food service directors across the country. Now, more than ever, 100% accuracy and a laser focus on operational efficiencies are a necessity. Presenting today is Dr. Jay Fry, President and CEO of identiMetrics. As you may already know, identiMetrics is the #1 provider of biometrics in K-12 education. What you may not know is that Dr. Fry is also a former principal and school administrator. So he comes to us with a wealth of hands-on practical experience. He understands the challenges you face every day. Our special guest today is Leeanne Koeneman. Leeanne is the immediate past president of the Indiana School Nutrition Association and the food services director at the Northwest Allen County Schools in Indiana. Welcome, Leeanne. We've been honored to be working with Leeanne and her team since 2010. Thanks so much for joining us today. Let's get started. Jay?
Thank you, Eden. Welcome, Leeanne, and thank you to everyone joining us today. As Eden said, I'm a former principal of a middle school with over 1,000 students. Every day, we were putting out fires related to student and staff identification. Lost and forgotten ID cards, shared ID numbers, miskeyed ID numbers, and the resulting inaccurate records all resulted in a tremendous waste of time and frustration for my teachers and staff. What we needed was an ID solution so we could feel less stress in managing all we had to get done in a day. That's why we created identiMetrics almost 20 years ago. What used to take an office staff hundreds of hours a year to manage now takes hardly any time, and those inaccurate records and time-consuming audits are a thing of the past. identiMetrics was designed to eliminate ID cards and numbers and use something the students could not forget: their fingers. They had to work with software the schools already had in place and needed to be simple and easy to use for the staff as well as young students. And of course, just like in my principal days, I would only accept exceptional customer service and technical support from my staff. Many of the leading K-12 companies like Heartland, Titan, and Harris School Solutions have chosen to partner with us because of the value that we bring to their products and their customers. We know that at the end of a chaotic day, you want to feel good about educating kids and running a good program. That's why our #1 goal is to simplify your school day. When was the last time you used rabbit ears to adjust your TV or made a long-distance call on a payphone? Nobody does that anymore. Nationwide, more than 1 million students are using biometrics every day in the cafeteria, for attendance, and other locations throughout their schools. Their school administrators and technology teams are progressive thinkers who want to take control over their ID management headaches so they can educate their students and run their programs. The old-fashioned methods of identification like ID cards, numbers, and visual identification are draining their time and resources and creating real problems every day. Some of the problems you face each day impact your time, like reconciling inaccurate and compromised records. Some of them impact your budget, like paying for meals that are questioned by parents. Some of them impact your students, like not having time to eat because the lunch lines are too slow. Some of them impact your teachers, like not having enough classroom time because of the delays in the cafeteria. Some of them impact the administration, like audit and reimbursement problems. And some of them just irritate you and your staff, like parent complaints. This all adds up to a big headache for you. So, what's the solution? The solution is identiMetrics. With identiMetrics, you can proudly use progressive technology to take control of your ID management. You get accurate and efficient data collection, reporting, and audits by eliminating ID cards and numbers. Your students are able to eat and get to class on time because they are identified quickly and accurately. Your records and accounts are secure because biometrics protects student privacy. Your parents, staff, and administrators are happier because they've eliminated drudgery and stress. The real solution means that you have more time to focus on what's important to you because of increased efficiency and fewer distractions. In other words, peace of mind. So how does the finger scanning process work? The finger is scanned by the finger scanner. The software identifies unique points. Note that no fingerprint images are stored. The points are transferred to a binary number. The number is encrypted, linked to the user's ID number, and stored in the database. When the user returns, the same process happens, and the new template is compared to the database until a match is identified. The matching ID number is sent to the host application, and the user's account is found. All of this happens in about a second with a false acceptance rate of 1 in 200 million. It's impossible to recreate the fingerprint from this data, and privacy is ensured. Getting the students enrolled is simple and easy. Students enroll in identiMetrics only once. It takes less than 30 seconds. The students can enroll from any scan station. Once they're enrolled, there's no need to re-enroll them again, ever. The biometric info can be transferred from one school to another. We can even provide sample parent letters for you to use. I'm going to show you how fast it is to enroll 3 different students. The first student is in kindergarten.
Let's see how easy it is to enroll students into identify. Your name?
Alina Farris.
Okay, let's put your right finger up there. Go ahead. 1, lift up your finger. 2, and one more time. 3, and then left hand. 1, 2, 3. Great. All right, thank you.
Carly Thompson.
Carly Thompson. Okay. And let's do your right finger. 1, 2, 3, and your left finger. 1, 2, 3. Great.
I am Carl Scout.
Okay. And let's do your right finger. 1, 2, 3, and your left finger. 1, 2, 3. Great.
Because identiMetrics works as a platform, once the students are enrolled, they can be identified to any software you already have that uses barcodes, ID cards, or pins to identify the students. For example, it will work with the software you have in the cafeteria and the library. Schools find lots of other ways to use it too. For example, for student identification at athletic events and school dances to be sure the students coming in are supposed to be there. identiMetrics can also be used to take attendance for large classes such as band, orchestra, chorus, and PE, thus creating more instructional time. Schools are very creative in finding ways to use it to manage identification in a variety of different ways. In fact, we have one customer in West Virginia that used our ID system to be sure the students voted only once during the student government elections. I'm sure there are other areas in your school that would benefit from our system. identiMetrics is flexible. It's designed to work in a single school or across an entire district. Our tech staff will collaborate with you to design a deployment plan that works to your unique needs. All biometric devices are not created equal. You need robust hardware that will withstand considerable use, little fingers, wet fingers, and the occasional clunk of a ketchup can. We've tested a multitude of finger scanners on all kinds of fingers for almost 2 decades. The typical finger scanners that work just fine with normal adults fail with young children and difficult to read fingers. We test and test and test again. That's why we know the best finger scanners in the market today, and that's only what we recommend and support. USB biometric scanners are the most popular for POS applications because they're effective, robust, and fast. They attach to any Windows-based PC, laptop, or tablet via USB port. Now, Eden is going to talk to you about our customer support and implementation. Eden?
identiMetrics is solid, time-tested, and just works. But when life happens, we're always just a phone call away. Our team of biometric experts will escort you through any issue or will log in and take over if needed. We're set up to ensure a prompt response that's on target, detailed, and meaningful. Your time is valuable to us. We have a special customer resource website where you can schedule an appointment, open a support ticket, access our video library, cheat sheets, and more. Your success is our critical path. We make it easy for you. We take you through 5 thoughtful steps that make implementing identiMetrics a cinch for you. Step 1 is orientation. After you place your order, you'll receive a welcome letter from us and an orientation video that gives you an outline of what we need to do together. Step 2 is deployment planning. This is the technical design phase where we customize identiMetrics just for you. All the questions your techs have will be answered, and at the end of the meeting, we will deliver your deployment plan. Step 3 is installation. Once we have our plan established in step 2, step 3 is simple, installation, and we do all the heavy lifting. Step 4 is enrollment training. Not only will you be comfortable with how to enroll your students, we share all of the tips and tricks so that you're confident using the software and enrolling your students. Step 5 is your final system check. We can meet or we can provide a checklist if you'd like to do it yourself. We just want to make sure that your first day is flawless. Okay, so how does this all work in the real world? Well, Leeanne is going to tell you her story. Leanne's going to tell us a little bit about herself, her district, her problem, her solution with identiMetrics, and how it's working now. Take it away, Leeanne.
Thanks, Eden. So I was food service director, actually a food service manager when I started. I did that for 12 years and then became our food service director. So as I came in as a director, being a manager for that many years, I was able to experience firsthand some of the issues that we were facing at the registers. We at our high school currently have about 2,400 kiddos, and in our district we have 8,300 kiddos. So I guess I would call that a medium-sized district, enough to have issues like even a small district. But when I came to this position, I thought, how can we make this work? You know, we had lost or borrowed ID cards. We had kids that knew their number and 5 of their friends' numbers. They would have their boyfriend's card or their boyfriend's number, and it's okay, they love me, or his mom loves me. All the stories, you can't imagine all of the stories I heard at that register. We would have duplicate purchases. And what that created is, you know, they didn't care that they spent extra money on that purchase, but I knew I wasn't going to get the reimbursement when it came to claim time for that particular lunch. So lots of issues, as you guys have already discussed. the biggest thing that our biggest hurdle and our biggest thing that I wanted to correct was slow lines. People giving numbers, people having issues and discussing these in the lines made for a very long lunchtime. As an ISNA president, I have been in Washington, D.C. asking for more seat time. identiMetrics gives you that extra seat time. So it's just a huge solve for me to get those kids in their seats and have them have more time to eat, which was a huge goal for us in particular. When I came to you guys, yes, we can solve all these problems. It just seemed flawless, the whole procedure. So going through that procedure, and this might be some concerns that I have talked with other directors that they would have, my parents would have a fit. I'm not sure if my board would approve this or appreciate it. That is where I was amazed how identiMetrics came to the table. They stood right beside me. They talked to the parents. They came to those meetings. They squashed all of those fears, those concerns. And it was just unbelievable to have such a great partnership with identiMetrics to be able to walk us through that. And it became flawless. I mean, it just worked for everybody involved. The parents went away. They went away happy. They went away with all their concerns answered. The fact that I can tell you exactly how a finger scan works and that there are no concerns for the security of the child, which was a big parent concern. Identity theft was another issue. Sanitation of a finger scanner. I'm like, have you been to their locker lately? When was the last time they cleaned that? But the fact that I knew more about how the scan was done with identiMetrics than I even know on my own iPhone. I can't tell you how my iPhone recognizes me, but parents never seem to question that. So you gave all the details and all of the information that I possibly needed to make this work. So I just can't say enough about it. It worked. The implementation went extremely well. I cannot even say enough about that. But at a time where there were so many unknowns, identiMetrics was always there. I just can't say enough about that. But the other thing that came to light, I guess, that you helped me answer that I didn't know I would need to answer, is the enrollment process. You guys made that flawless. It is so simple, like you saw in the video. We do this at the beginning of the school year, where we bring kids in either at registration or the first days of school. So they come in. It takes very little time to get our masses of students enrolled, and then they're good for the rest of the year. I will say we have very little issues with them coming through. To re-enroll is next to nothing, and we don't really do that very often at all. The tech support is another issue, or another thing that I would just like to say. I can't say enough about the tech support. Never had to wait. You guys have always been very prompt to respond to any issues that we might have had. Usually those issues are things that we create. So you're really just very gracious in walking us through those. I will say, my tech by first name, whatever Patsy has issues
Patsy.
with. Yep. You guys are always very helpful. Let me reach out to her. We'll get it corrected. Again,
Yeah.
Usually it's things that we do that we don't do correctly, and you guys correct that immediately. So I just can't say enough about that. And then the competitive pricing that you offered, it was a no-brainer. So I just can't say enough. It's been a great working relationship with you. Coming in as a new director, I wasn't sure I was making the right decision. For the last 12 years, I have had no issues. I knew I made the right decision, and it has grown with our district as well. So back to you, Eden.
Thank you.
That's such a great story, Leeanne. Thank you so much. And you've been a customer of ours for what, 12 years?
12 years, since 2010. I was a new director in 2009. Came in with a brand new software program with Meal Magic, and it just seemed like every year there was something new. The nutritional guideline changes. I just wanted a normal year. I will say that you guys helped me achieve that, so we could move on. Our lines went so much faster. We found some calm and some resolve, and we settled in after that. So
Great.
Good.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your story with us. We
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Really
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on here. The big question always on the table is, how much does it cost? So here it is. The most popular package is $2,900 per school, and that includes everything you need to get started. The biometric software for your first scan station, an enrollment station, finger scanning hardware, installation, training, and support, and additional scan stations are $800 a piece. Annual subscription is only 20% of the purchase price and starts in year 2. Jay?
Thank you, Eden. And to summarize, let me just say, identiMetrics biometric ID management simplifies your school day and helps you and your staff perform at your best. You have efficient, accurate, hassle-free accounting and data with happier administrators, staff, parents, and students. From your seasoned staff down to the kindergartners, identiMetrics is 100% accurate, safe, and secure. identiMetrics works with the POS software you already have. Our software is ever evolving. As a result, you always have the latest and greatest version. With identiMetrics, students enroll only once and scan anywhere that requires accurate ID. As for our customer support and services, our only option is excellence. The frustration and inefficiencies of cards and PINs are a thing of the past. Take control over your ID management worries and focus more on what you do best, providing an awesome environment for educating your students and operating a superb program.
Thank you again to Leeanne. Thank you, Jay. And before we open this up to some questions, just the reminder again that we'll be emailing you each a recording of this webinar. The email will include that special 5% discount coupon on any of our products through October 31st, 2022. And now it's time for some questions. Feel free to add yours in the chat window. All right, Brian, what you got for us?
Hey everyone, we're waiting for a few questions rolling in. I got a couple here. One is, I'm ready to move forward. What do I do next?
That's a good question. Eden, do you want to take that question?
I'll let you do it.
Okay. So the next thing you do is just contact us. You can contact us either by email or by phone, and we're happy to set up either a demo for you, so you can get an individual demo about how the product works along with your team. And that way you can better understand the product and how it will simplify your school day. And then you can ask for a quote, and we'll send you a quote and move on from there.
Yep, perfect. And you can sign up for demos right up on our website, right on the home page in the lower left-hand corner. It says schedule a demo. Pick point of sale or POS demos. You'll be with me, and I'll be happy to show you the application itself, chat with you, answer questions. I can get you a formal quote written, and we can go from there.
And Eden's contact information is right on this slide, so be sure you take that down. And it will also be in the follow-up email that you'll get. And if you want to talk to me, just reach out. I'm glad to talk with any of you.
All right, thanks. We got another question here. Where is the biometric data stored?
All right, I'll take that, and then you chime in, Jay.
Okay.
if you need to. So all the biometric data is stored on your network. Okay, so this is part of the student privacy thing that we're very, very passionate about here. So it's stored behind your firewalls, where all of your other important student information is stored. So it's not on the internet at all, which should make people feel very, very confident about their data.
We felt very strongly about making sure it resides on the school networks and behind your firewalls to protect that data. So it has the same protection all of the student data does that's in your network. So no one can access that. No one can do anything with it. And so it makes us and you feel safer about using the biometric data.
If I can jump in here too.
Yeah, please.
One thing that I was pointing out, our information, we had more information on our student ID cards with their picture and their date of birth than they do on the attachments for identiMetrics.
Right. There's only a simple amount of information that we take for the ID, the student's last name, first name, and their ID number. And that's really it. And from my perspective as a principal, I always felt that a lost ID card carried much more information, had the student's picture, had the student's name, had the student's school, all of that information. And we all know how awkward and clumsy kids are with their ID cards and losing them, especially if you have them and are responsible for recreating them, which is one of the reasons why we started identiMetrics, because I created 1,000 cards at the beginning of the year, and I created another 1,000 cards during the course of the year. But with identiMetrics, for use of identification in the cafeteria or library or attendance or wherever you use it, you don't need a card. So if they've lost it, they can still just use a finger scan.
I was doing a demo this morning with a food service director from Ohio, and we were talking about this issue, and we were talking about privacy and the fact that, you know, our data is stored on their network, et cetera, et cetera. And she's like, student privacy. All of our kids are using TikTok and Instagram and all of that other. She's like, there is no privacy anymore. I was like, well, good point. Good point. What else you got, Brian?
Another question here is, can you help with parent communication?
All right, I'll do that. And then I want you to talk about something specific though, Jake, because I think you did something really cool for us, but I'll talk about the letters. So one of the things that we do have as part of the onboarding process here is some parent communication letters. We also have communication for your colleagues as well. So, and a little cut sheet that describes how the software works. We kind of point out that it kind of works like the biometrics that you're using on your phone. But the real point is like to get everybody on the same page, that we are not fingerprinting anybody during this process. So we want parents to know that, and colleagues, right? So everybody's calling it finger scanning rather than fingerprinting. And then we encourage you and strongly recommend that you do this communication via whatever method you normally do, whether it's letters or email or website or newsletters or whatever. And I'm curious to see what Leeanne has to say about that. But Jay, one of the other cool thing that we offer is that privacy policy recommendation that you wrote, which I think is really, really cool. Maybe talk about that a little bit. And then I want to hear what Leeanne has to say.
Yeah, we wrote a privacy policy for use of schools to put in their student handbook. And I wrote it from my perspective as a principal and how my parents and community would want to know and understand how biometrics worked and what we were doing with it in the school. And one of the important things in that policy is that, first of all, no one is required to participate. It's a voluntary participation. And if a student doesn't want to participate, we encourage schools to use what they currently are using alongside of the biometrics. What we have been told by schools is that students will eventually ask to use the finger scanning system because it's so much more convenient. They don't have to worry about a card, and it's pretty cool for them. Yeah. Secondly, that the schools be sure to let everyone know that when a student leaves the school, their biometric data is deleted. And we have developed in our software a very easy way to access this information by individual students or by entire grade levels, because it's, of course, as your seniors graduate and move on to their next time in life, you want to be able to easily identify all of them and delete them from the system. So the privacy policy can become a part of your handbook. And after the first year, when you've notified people that you're going to do this, it simply becomes a part of practice in the school because it's in the handbook as notification to everyone.
Leeanne, maybe you can tell us what you've done.
Sure.
Or what you do.
In our parent communications, that was a big concern with our parents. The civil rights infringement and what happens if I don't want my child to be, and they will call it fingerprinting. Aiden's right. Use the word finger scan as much as you can. This is not a fingerprint. You don't want to lean them to that verbiage. But we literally we gave them that option. I mean, they could use their old ID cards. We let them know all of our concerns with that ID card, that that they were paying for replacement cards, and they're like, I don't care if I have to pay $10. Well, they did care after we started using the finger scanning, that they had to purchase so many cards, because our concern was accountability, and that we were going to increase that accountability if they didn't finger scan, that they would have to purchase new cards. That we wanted the accountability for this. But we gave them what we called an opt-out, and that no one would be forced to use this method, but they could opt out. We would need a form. They would have to sign that they would want to opt out of that program, and they could use their ID card. I will tell you, we had about an 8% in the beginning, an 8% opt-out. I will tell you that quickly went down to about 5% once we got into the program and everybody became more comfortable, and then everybody was having to buy new cards or have issues with their students not being able to get through as fast as the other students. And I would say we're probably down to about a 2 or 3%, probably even less than that. We honestly, I can't tell you the last time I even got an opt-out form.
Fantastic. And by the way, the latest and greatest version of the software does support an opt-out, insofar as you can actually flag any student record with the word opt-out, and that record becomes unenrollable. It's easy to opt out, and it's just as easy to opt back into, Leanne's point. Brian, what other questions?
For a final question here,
Okay.
And it's, can teachers and staff be in the system as well as the students?
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of school districts that will enroll their staff because they're also eating in the cafeteria.
Right.
And they're tracking those purchases as well. So it allows them to easily do that. And the staff find that easily convenient as well, because they don't have to find their ID card or use an ID number. So sure, they can.
Cool.
Wonderful. That was all of our questions.
Wow, that's terrific. And so first of all, I want to thank you, Leeanne, for sharing your experience and your time with us.
For sure.
I have to say, I knew what I was going to say, and I had an idea of what Eden was going to say, but I've never heard your comments about our software. And it's so encouraging to me to know that 20 years after I thought I needed to solve this problem for my cafeteria manager, that you and so many others benefit from that. And I really do appreciate your sharing your story with us and all the other people on this call. I also hope, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's been a joy.
Thank you. I hope the webinar has really been helpful to everybody who's watching. From our perspective, the identiMetrics biometric ID system provides safety, efficiency, accuracy, and accountability to your food service operations. And we hope you find it just as helpful as Leeanne does.
Thank you, Jay. And thank you, Leeanne. It was a pleasure having you here. And I appreciate it so, so much. Thank you, Brian. And thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.